Hello everybody and welcome to Books with Ike. My name is Isaac and today I'm going to be going over some books that I bought recently. Now, most of these are sequels that I desperately wanted to get to, but a couple of them are books that I didn't get for my birthday that I really wanted, and I figured since we're trapped inside, I may as well get some more stuff to read. Now, I only have 6 books to talk about, but I think after I've done my book haul, I'm going to do a bit of an unhaul as well. So, without further ado, the first book that I bought recently was Seasons of War by Derek Landy. And this is the latest book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, which is my favourite series of all time. Now, I would have got this the day it came out, but because of the quarantine I didn't, and I had to wait for it to arrive, which was just so annoying. No. But if you don't know what Skullduggery Pleasant is about, it is about a 12-year-old girl called Stephanie Edgley who becomes the apprentice of a magical detective who just so happens to be a reanimated skeleton. And the reason I was desperate to get my hands on this is because the previous book in the series, Bedlam, ended with some huge plot twists and then a massive cliffhanger. So I was like dying to see the resolution to that. As you can see, I have already started it. The resolution was a bit anticlimactic, but that's fine. But yeah, I am very much enjoying this so far. Next I have some sequels to books that I read very recently that I was just dying to get around to. And the first of those are Magic's Promise by Mercedes Lackey and Magic's Price by Mercedes Lackey. These are the second and third books in the Valdemar the Last Herald Mage trilogy, which the first book was Magic's Pawn. Now, I talked about Magic's Pawn in my last video, but if you didn't see that video, it is about a boy called Vanyel, who is the son of a lord, and he is kicked out of his house for failing to meet his father's standards of masculinity. So his father sends him to stay with his aunt, who is a notoriously hard person, and he hopes that she will be able to straighten him out. And when I say straighten him out, I do mean that in both senses of the word. But I loved the first book. I loved Vanyel especially. He was an incredible protagonist, and I gave it 4.5 stars, and I just needed to get these as soon as I possibly could. Apparently this book is set 10 years after the first one, so that will be interesting. Wonder how Vanyel will have changed. But yeah, this series has great potential to be one of my favourite of all time, so I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I think I'm going to read both of these as soon as I finished Skullduggery Pleasant. And the final sequel I have is The Hanged Man by K.D. Edwards. And this is the second book in the tarot sequence. Again, I talked about the first book, The Last Sun, in my last video, but if you didn't see that video, it is about a city ruled by creatures who are named after tarot cards, and the main character is one of these creatures whose entire family was slaughtered when he was 15, and he is hired to investigate the disappearance of the son of another one of these creatures. Again, I loved the first book in this series and I gave it 4.5 stars, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one as well. The first book ended with what I presume is the setup for this book, and there was also some interesting mysteries that started to get built up in the first book, and I'm looking forward to seeing if there are any more clues in this one. Now, the last 2 books are both the starts of new series that I really wanted to get into, and the first of those is Scarlet and the White Wolf, The Peddler and the Bandit King by Kirby Crow, and this is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, I presume. I mean, from the title, that's what I get from it. And it is an romance about a peddler called Scarlet and a bandit king called Lyle, I think. Lyle, yeah. And they meet when Lyle's bandits block the road that Scarlet is using, and things progress from there. And I assume it's an enemies to lovers romance, and it sounds really good and I can't wait to read it. And the last book I have to talk about is Wrangle by Darren Charlton. And this is about an island in the middle of a lake, which is a safe haven from the zombies that roam the world, except in the winter when the lake freezes over, and there is a boy called Cooper, whose job it is to herd the zombies away from the shore of the lake before it freezes over, which will allow them to cross. And the main character is a boy called Peter, who lives on Wranglestone, but when he breaks a rule, he is sent out of the settlement, whatever it is, I'm not sure, to help Cooper with his job of herding zombies. And along the way, Peter and Cooper discover disturbing secrets about Wranglestone's past. Now, I'm not super into zombie stories, but I am into sinister pasts, buried history, and gay romance, so I'm sold. So yeah, that was my mini quarantine book haul. If you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear what you thought about them, so please do that in the comments below. But as I may have said at the start, this is not just a book haul, this is also an unhaul video. And obviously I can't actually get rid of the books right now, but once the quarantine's over, they're gone, and I am going to take them off my shelves because they're just taking up space. The first books I'm unhauling are the Fallen Kingdom series, and A Book of Spirits and Thieves by Morgan Rhodes. Now, I read the entire Fallen Kingdom series, and I liked it for the first 4 books, but the last 2 were really disappointing. I thought the plot wasn't resolved well. I thought the only thing that the author seemed to care about by the end was the relationship between the main characters, and a lot of the other relationships fell by the wayside in a major way. And yeah, they're just really disappointing, and I don't see a need to hang on to them, really. As for A Book of Spirits and Thieves, I'm unhauling this because I've heard that it was never finished, and I'm not really interested in a series that isn't finished. George R.R. Martin is about to crash through the roof and call me a hypocrite, but at least he says he plans to finish the series. And because I didn't really like the ending of Fallen Kingdoms, I don't really see why I would want to continue into this series. So yeah, I'm not that interested in it anymore. The next series I'm unhauling is The Darkest Minds series by Alexandra Bracken. Now, I read The Darkest Minds years ago, and I obviously liked it enough to buy the rest of the series, but as the years have gone on, I've just lost interest in reading the sequels, and I don't know, I'm just not looking forward to them anymore. And the same is true of the Fifth Wave series by Rick Yancey. Again, I read the first book years ago, and I liked it enough to want to continue, and I don't believe the third book was out at the time, so that's why I've only got the second. But again, I've just lost interest in the series, and with both of these series, The Darkest Minds and The Fifth Wave, people say that they go downhill, so I don't really see the point in hanging on to them if I'm not excited about reading them anymore. But that being said, if either of these are your favourite series, or you love them, or whatever, and you think they're worth hanging on to, you can try and convince me to keep them, but I don't know, I'm pretty set on this. So yeah, that was my quarantine book haul and unhaul. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter or add me as a friend on Goodreads if you feel like it, links to both of those in the description, and I will hopefully have another video up soon. But until then, thank you for watching. I've been Isaac, and this has been Books with Ike. Goodbye.